Righty then. Welcome to the Rise Show. I'm your host, Brett C. Collins. How's everybody doing on this Wednesday evening? You know, every time I plan and do a show to get stuff together, there's so much news that just builds up like a crescendo and then drops off in the evening. And I always find myself trying to catch up with what was just dropped to put into the platform in the evening, because there's so much amazing stuff that's coming out. And so we'll get to that. Let's welcome in pill.net, Rumble, and we are on YouTube. Yes, we are. So please subscribe and share. Leave us a comment. Always important over there while we build up our following and making sure that the platform is good. You can go back and forth in case if you have any issues on any of the other platforms. Let's welcome my co-host, Marshall Smith. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Yeah, you're right. You know, I got to stop sending you stuff in the morning and start waiting a while because, you know, by the time
and you send me stuff that I don't even use. It's like,
well, the thing
that
is
sounds good,
that,
but you know, maybe.
Well, the thing is, in the morning, you know, I rattle off some stuff, and an hour later, there's a pile of new stuff that just comes out.
I know, so and the stuff I use, it's in my thing. It's shared, and I guess other people pluck at it. I know Tom takes some of the stuff too. It's great because I'm just dropping stuff overnight and then in the day catching up, because there's just so much news that's building and building and building.
I'm gonna wait till later.
Yeah,
and you know, instead of, because it just moves too fast.
Yeah, it does. It really does move too fast.
A little inside baseball for you guys.
with a lot of stuff that's happening. We'll get to it tonight's show. Election apocalypse alert. They want to make it that a blue wave is coming. The blue hair wave is coming. Good. Let them present that. You know, remember the red wave in 2022 that failed, that fizzled out, never happened. Remember that? So let them promise you and let them put out a blue wave is coming. That's fine. Let that keep going. That's why I call it the apocalypse alert. And this is because of what's going on with the Tennessee election, with Van App winning that, and we'll cover that tonight about a lot of other things. Nonstop subversion. There's subversion everywhere, sedition everywhere. 13848, the executive order, which all plays into Venezuela. What we're going to find out today, where we're going to hear some of General Flynn's comments. Unaffordable truths. President Trump got a lot of flack for calling out affordability and saying it's a Democratic myth. And is he wrong? I'll show you that he's not wrong about that. So let's welcome in pill.net. What's going on, everybody? Who's here tonight? Thea, thank you for the 700 gold pills. And thank you for this copper bottle. I put some iced tea in it yesterday. This is great. I love this. Thank you for the Christmas present and the beautiful card. Thank you for saying that.
I got mine.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Thank you for the 700 gold pills. Our country is unrecognizable now. Yeah, it's getting worse too, because a lot of the stuff, hidden truths, things are being rediscovered, uncovered. I think people are going to flip out. They're going to want to seal the border, close it all down. No one gets in and out. No one. I mean, escape from the United States. That's what it's going to be. Not New York, not L.A. Escape from the United States. Let's see them try to dip out. Would USA 117 gold pills. Thank you for dropping that, please. Let's see. Patty B, what's going on? Thank you, Trump One, for the cookie. Good to see everybody out here. Who else is here tonight? I saw somebody else. Oh, Super D, thank you again for the 117 gold pills. Blue Viking, what's up, man? How you doing? I'm trying to see who is. Curious Cat, what's up, Mark? Gift of the cookie. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Trusty Turnip, how you doing? 17 is coming for you. What's up? Gift of the cookie. Good evening, gentlemen. Yes, good evening to you. Over on Rumble, Margok, FL John 48, and True Terran, what's up? Greetings and salutations, guys. What's going on? And again, like, you guys can go back and forth to YouTube. Let me know how it is. See if it's working out. If you want to help out the platform, like, share, and subscribe. Always hit the bell to be notified when we go live all the time. If you want to help out the platform, you could do so by dropping his gold pills over here on Rumble. On pill.net, or you could drop us a Rumble rant over here on Rumble. Same thing. We're not monetized on YouTube, so you can go back and forth, or you can help out Marshall. Ko-fi.com/surfdog74. Let's get it right into it, because I got to move fast. There's just so much stuff I was adding to this because I didn't really know. There's kind of going to be an overlap and a collage. I just want to get through this because I thought this was the big thing today from yesterday. Harry Enton's warns Tennessee win is a bad omen for the GOP. I don't necessarily believe so. I just listened to the commentary. I'm not going to read too much of this stuff because I got to move on. But let me just say that when you hear what he's saying right now, ask yourself, are you really threatened by what he is saying or what he's putting out? Is it all nonsensical psyop bullshit? Is it misop? Are they trying to convince you that in a non-election year, on a special election, that this carries weight? Weight in any sense that you could possibly understand it. This is not 2022, even though they want to make it as this. Is this a harbinger for the future? It may be. There might be harbinger hysteria that's happening, but it's not necessarily as what you think it is. Listen to this.
Republicans should be running for the hills this morning because the blue wave is building, my dear neighbor. What are we talking about here? Well, Matt Van Epps, the Republican candidate, he won it by 9, but this is a district that Donald Trump won by 22 points, 15 points, 17 points. This is a 13-point gain for the Democrats in terms of the margin. And excuse time for Republicans is over because I hear all about these special elections. Oh, the turnout's so low. It's not representative of what happened in the midterm election. The turnout last night in Tennessee's 7th district was equal to the turnout in the 2022 midterm election. For the blue wave, it seems to be building right out of center of Tennessee.
Interesting. I mean, so in terms of the numbers, the turnout is like a regular midterm election.
What? Did they just block that? Oh. What happened? I don't know what happened. Oh, that's too bad. I guess it got cut off. I really wanted
just rated us. Woke society.
Yeah, I know. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'll get to that. I got to play this, man. Hold on. I want to play. I wanted to play this. This is important. I wanted everybody to hear this. Oh, mud on.
Republicans should be running.
I guess it's not playing. I guess that's it. I don't know why. All right. Anyway, it's so sad because I really wanted to cover that. Anyway, the point what he's saying is this analysis. It's not about who won 2020. The district was one President Donald Trump County, 22 points in 2024, 15 in 20, 17 in 2016, and a 9-point win. Enton argued effectively a 13-point Democratic surge. Oh. Wow, this thing is possessed. And now it's playing. Okay.
Well, when Trump's not on the ballot, there's always a lower turnout.
Blue wave is building.
And it's not just that it's blue, it's that it's double-digit blue.
It is double-digit.
Exactly
right. I looked at the stats. If, in fact, you had a 13-point shift like we saw in Tennessee, and you applied that to the 2024 presidential map, we are talking about a gain for Democrats of north of 40 seats.
All right. In terms of the history, what does this mean as we project?
North of 40 seats. With all the redistricting that's going on, okay, in the South and in Florida, we're going to get 5 seats. Texas and many other seats. You're going to tell me we're going to gain 40 seats. They're going to win, and they're going to win the House by 40 seats. These people are crazy. See, they're pushing a narrative. They want to scare you because the only thing they could do is cover their ass about this. They don't know how to explain. I really think explain what is broken down and what we're seeing. All right, the Senate map for Republicans is 11 seats. Democrats 24. Ohio, Montana are those are the big states. Will the Dems flip the House, not the Senate? Yeah, that's the discussion. By how many seats? I'm not really sure how that is. I'm not buying that per se. So again, is this a harbinger or a hoax? I mean, are they trying to suggest can Dems win, and will they be allowed to do so? Now, what does that mean? Because they were talking about that this comes from NPR that's being expressed. Can they win? And on top of it, will they be allowed to do so? What does that mean? Will they be allowed to do so? You mean allowed to cheat and allowed to steal? Okay, is that what you're saying? Is that what's being suggested out there? See, because I think the 2026 doom scroll that they're putting out there by prefacing the idea that, hey, there's going to be what? There's going to be this blue hair wave that's going to sweep through. We're going to make sure we're going to base it on what? All the illegals, communism, all this other nonsense that was basically they were trying to do with the Van Epp special election. Listen, Van Epp won that by 9-10 points. All right. The bottom line is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She won Nashville. Okay. Afton Bain. That's her name. She won Nashville. And the question is, why did she win Nashville when she went out and she called Nashville what? disgusting. She hates Christians. She thinks Nashville's disgusting. She doesn't like all the bars, all these different things. Why? Because it's a blue-haired area. That's why. See, these people will eat their own, and they will accept all this torture as they can, where he won the rest of the counties outside Franklin, I believe, many other ones. And I'll show you in a second. Marshall, your thoughts as we move through.
Well, first of all, the area around Nashville in the 7th District, 52% of the people that live there are liberal women.
Yep.
52%. And the other thing is that Trump, wait a minute, what was it? Go ahead, keep going, man. I'll remember it.
No, go ahead, keep going.
I'm trying to remember it. I forgot. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. Well, the point is and stuff, I want to show you this because Liberty Nation puts this out. See all the hype and all the hullabaloo. Yes, I want to thank Woke Societies. He rated the channel. Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. They're all coming in. Welcome in to the We Are Rise show. We're just underway. We'll get to everybody and stuff. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop a skull pill. Like the show. Let me know what you think as we move on. Liberty Nation News. Tennessee win exposes the political bait and switch. This was an important discussion because the special election of 7th congressional district that was billed by the Democrats as the first step in taking back control of the Republican Party. It pressed the politicals were to be believed Democrat candidate Afton Bain going to bury GOP Matt Epps. The overturned 20-point advantage President Trump guarded in 2024. See, they just want to make sure in some way they throw that in there, even though in a non-election presidential election or even a midterm election. This was a special election, so they want to make sure they put this out. Van Epps scored 9 points, 54-45, despite the full court press of star power cash had swamped the state. Notably, polling this race was scarce, and the one major survey that did get released posited that the GOP hopeful was mere 2 points clear of his challenger. Of course, such a tight margin meant that all involved in the Democrat side embraced this as a final indicator that the Trump presidency is well and truly done. That's what they were trying to say. But I disagree with this, and this article actually makes this point for me. Thank you for the GOP partners who joined me on the campaign, Van Epps said, who represented in defining the moment for Tennessee and for the direction of the country. DNC Chair Ken Martin argued that it was quick with the spin. He argued the fact that the Republicans spent millions to protect this Trump 2022 district and still lost so much ground should have the GOP shaking in the boots. No mention was made of the equal amount of dollars spent by the Democrats of Governor Pritzker, HMP PAC, and Netflix founder Reed Hastings. In fact, drilling down into the 14 counties that make up the 7th district, Bain secured victory in just one, and that's Nashville. And only by 10 points he won. That shows you how big Nashville is. And what is Nashville? It's blue. It's clearly progressive. It's clearly Democrat, per se. I mean, I hope it's not communist. But when you understand that, when Bain went out and destroyed Nashville, I hate country music. I hate these pedal bars. I hate all these different things about Nashville. They still came out and won that. Did they? That's the good point. That's the question we'll find out. Mark Green lost in 2024 and 2022. Of note is that Bain only drew 2/3 of the votes in this county that the Democrat challenger in 2024 secured. And this was because both the turnout and enthusiasm is much lower in special elections. A pass or fail test. The Washington Post presented a well-crafted summation in the wake of the Republican victory, positing that while far from a perfect predictor of future outcomes, the election was a final exam of sorts for both parties at the end of a tumultuous political year, with the focus now turning to midterms. If this was a final exam, the GOP in general, and Van Epps in particular, passed with flying colors. Did the contender perform less than well than the president 2024 election? Certainly 11-point drop is nothing to be sneezed at. However, a congressional race is not a presidential election, and turnout is just about always far lower. Some might say it's the case for comparing apples and motor cars. The alignment doesn't match. That's a good analogy, and I think that is a really good summation of understanding of what they're trying to do. CNN, MSNBC, all the blue-haired, let's just say, mainstream media is basically trying to say that this is a forecaster, a harbinger, or foreboding of what's to come. I disagree. I think what Liberty Nation News is suggesting is that in a special election where Trump won 22 points and he won, she only won, one county. That was Nashville, which was surprising to begin with. So this is a good thing in general that I think a lot of people, when they look at a special election or maybe going into the midterms, there is hope for what we're seeing. And don't be, let's just say, assuaged to the idea that the external structure that's going to happen with all these added districts that are coming in Texas and in Tennessee and in Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, what have you, that is not going to change the trajectory going forward, Marshall.
Yeah, what they're doing is CNN, they are setting up, once again, they've done this before. They are setting up all the liberals and all the Democrats for a huge meltdown.
Right.
Because next
just
election,
like 2022 with the red wave. I think it's exactly like that. Because CNN did the same thing. They did the same thing. There's a red wave coming, and I know it's coming, and it's gonna crash hard. What happened? It fizzled out. Nothing in 2022. And I believe that is exactly what we're seeing here in 2026.
The thing is, we don't melt down, but these people are going to lose their shit next November. The Democrats are.
Do we have an election? Do we have an election based on Executive Order 13848? We know what's coming. We know what's happening in Venezuela. We understand right now there's been election interference and fraud everywhere, and we're going to find out it's far more prevalent that was coming out of Venezuela. And what I've been saying about the Biden administration, I've been talking about for a couple of weeks. I said it yesterday on True Reporting Show, and exactly that information came out almost verbatim.
Yeah, you're right. The military is probably on their way now. That's common.
So the question is, where do we go? Welcome in, everybody, on from Woke Society. It's good to see everybody. Thank you, Scott, for rating the channel. It's good to see everybody here. It's been a long time. Breaking, the Trump DOJ just sued a swath of blue states for hiding voter roll data, potentially allowing huge fraud to take place. Expose it all. This is on top of other states being sued, like Minnesota, Michigan. I do believe Governor Walz will be arrested. I think that there's enough right now that they could probably go after him because of his executive orders and signing bills into place to allow this criminal fraud to take place inside of Minnesota, and allowing the Somalian, let's just say, refugees or what have yous to come in there to wash it all away, so to speak. Assistant AG Harmeet Dillon, we sued Delaware, Maryland, New Mexico, Rhode Island, Washington, and Vermont for failing to comply with our election data demands. Compliance is not optional. All right, it is nor is an election integrity. I think so. In general, I think that what we're trying to say is that, look, if we don't get this compliance in some way, we will hold you accountable. What are they going to do with this? They might either erase the voter rolls, or they might just bifurcate it. I think there are going to be many different lawsuits that are going to be put in place that I think people are not really waiting, not really realizing what's come. They're going to be forced to give this up because they have no choice. They'll be sued. And in discovery, you'll probably find out that most of these voter rolls are all fake. They're all fake. They're all full of criminal, illegal aliens. They've been washed out for a long time, a lot more dead people. And they're moving forward with, let's just say, fixing this in these areas. Most of those are all blue states anyway. So I think that's important to look at. Moving on. Axios did this, and I want to say, I just want to cover this again because we're still talking about the election from last night, and I'm just going to cover this briefly before I get to your thank yous. What's up, Darrell L. over here on Rumble? So double down, Trump's base sees Ultra MAGA as an answer to GOP stumbles. All right. Yes, it's coming for one flank of a party to argue that failed or underperforming candidates didn't devote enough attention to its preferred policies. But MAGA is no longer just a wing of the GOP. It's the party's main engine. MAGA influencers offer near uniform diagnosis. Candidates are falling short because they are not MAGA enough. I believe that 100%. And because Republicans in Washington aren't executing the MAGA agenda, that the Senate isn't. They passed some resolutions today. They got some of President Trump's people forward. I just don't think it's enough. They're slow walking this still, and I think this is the problem. This is what we're seeing right now. And whether it's done on purpose or not, it's really irrelevant at this point. Is it too late? I'm not really sure. We're going to have to see how everything picks up by January and February. If now ever was a clearing call for more direct action, it has to be now. War Room host Steve Bannon said on Wednesday. Yes, the closeness of this race in the district won by 22 last year would be a wake-up call. I understand it was, but a lot of people are overlooking the fact is it's not a presidential, election. And those are what drives people, all right, to get out and vote, because the primary ticket is there. And then from there, everything else, the down ballot people vote for, senator, congressman, all right, the elected officials, all the main, let's just say, arbiters that are on the ballot that you want to go through. And I think that the turnout that pushes people out there is because the big ticket items now. Because realistically, Congress has a 14% approval rating, Marshall. All right. That's the Senate and the House. All right. And so people aren't really just like so urged to run out to vote for the local congressman. I have some right here in Tampa. I have some Democrat broad. Yeah, I'll probably vote for a Republican if they get somebody in there. Hopefully it's a MAGA candidate, but I'm not like running out to vote her out right now. She'll be up in the midterms. So hopefully I'll be able to vote during that time. But I think in some way, what is being argued from Axios, Trump himself struggled to keep the discipline calling affordability a fake narrative, which I'll get to, because a lot of these things with the affordability narrative and nonsense that's out there was a Democratic hit job, a con job as being put out there only to what? To say, hey, look, if you vote for Democrats, we'll solve our problems. But look, you just had 45 days of a shutdown. They did nothing. Things got worse. So is there some type of like reflexive point that people look back and say, hey, look, they shut down the government. SNAP was out of control. All these benefits were shut down. They didn't do anything. Why do we to believe them? Right now, with the governors in Virginia and in New Jersey, they're going to raise taxes, even though they promised you otherwise. So again, you vote for a Democrat, and this ends up being the same thing over and over again. They overpromise, underdeliver, never deliver, and this is the situation we're in. And so a lot of people are looking at and saying, can we win with Republicans going forward in 2026, Marshall?
Yeah, I had a little back and forth with Corey Mills this morning on X.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, oh, yeah.
He's a lovely guy.
Yeah, we were back and forth directly on X, and he responded, and I responded, and back and forth. And I'm like, we're primarying you, dude.
Yeah.
You're going to get primaried. And he's like, oh, I welcome that. He's trying to be the big guy,
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, you're welcome. We'll see you there.
Yeah.
I mean, these people, they've got to go. These rhinos have got to go. And
well,
like
he's got issues in general, though. I mean, he's
trying to be big and bad and big and tough. I think he's going to be. I hear he's going to try to run for Senate and dip out of this area and try to hit Senate. And I'm like, I didn't get
a
into
state
that
senator, or I mean, he's going to run for senator where? Where's he going to? Is he going to run for Moody's position? I mean, I think Moody's up for re-election because she took over a special election for Marco Rubio. So I'm not really sure.
He tried to act tough, and I was like, oh, okay, all right.
Well, I imagine they're going to put up a primary candidate or ask him to step down because he's got too many issues with domestic violence, stalking. All these other issues and stuff. But see, that's what we have right now in some way. And it's highlighted in these key areas that you need to expand on. Ohio Kimmy gifted a cookie. Thank you so much, Thea, with the cookie. Sean Joe gifted a cookie. Thank you. Sean Joe with another can. 17 is coming to you. Gifted a cookie. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening to you all. Welcome everybody in here. We're on YouTube. So if you want to check it out as well, you can go over to YouTube. We're on there. So please, subscribe. We're not monetized over there. Subscribe, share, leave us a comment. Let me know how it is. Moving on. Mike Lindell files paperwork to run for governor in Minnesota, will likely face Tim Walz if nominated. I don't think he's going to face Tim Walz. I think Tim Walz is going to be arrested. I think he's going to be arrested for fraud, abuse, all these other things that these infractions that he purposely committed. He can't use the excuse he didn't realize this. He keeps touting the line that all these Somalis and the Somali population is great. You notice how the chief of police, the commissioner, many elements inside the Minnesota government or outside in Minneapolis police force or city council are all towing the line about Somalia and about refugees, and we should be again using the narrative of suicidal empathy or whatever, toxic empathy to assuage you to believe that we're doing the right thing. These people need our help and they're good people, and we know it's all garbage. I mean, President Trump highlighting the fact that Somalia is garbage. It's a shithole. I mean, he calls out Haiti as a shithole, but he hasn't called out Haiti recently. Haiti's got its own problems per se. But you notice how bad Somalia is? Do you know we've bombed Somalia over like 100 times so far in the last couple of years? 100 times. You could go on anything. I'll actually present something next week or on Friday about how many times we're bombing Somalia. Why are we bombing Somalia all the time? Remember Mogadishu? Remember Black Hawk Down? Don't tell me this area is safe. All these people that were coming over from when Obama put them there that have been resettled over, not just them, okay, the Biden administration and many other people. And now what did they do? They procreate, they lay their eggs like cockroaches and rats, and they start to build out anchor babies. Enough's enough. And I think President Trump is right 100%. we have a serious problem right now. I'm not going to go through this much more, but I think Mike Lindell, a very popular guy, everybody likes his products. President Trump thinks this guy sacrificed his company many a times. I think this is going to be fantastic. This will be a battle. The question is, who will be facing him? Because I don't think it's going to be Waltz there, Marshall.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see some Somalian try and do this. That would be awesome. I would love to watch that one. You got to
thinking that? You're thinking that if Waltz is arrested,
I'm not thinking
indicted,
that's
arrested,
happen.
and charged. Okay.
It would. Well, I'm thinking it would be pure gold to watch. It's freaking Somalian Muslim up against a based Christian like Mike Lindell. That would be, But no, I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be probably some woman, some female Democrat or something.
Look at this: 76% chance Democrats win. This is the Poly Market, Minnesota governor. Well, I mean, look, that's what they're putting out right now. I mean, okay, things can change, and I do believe things will change if someone is arrested. If the exposure of what Minnesota is about to be really just uncovered, Keith Ellison, he might run, but he's got his own problems. All right, he's been collecting checks too. All right, cashing them in. So he might be under the same type of RICO Act laws of fraud and all this other bribery scandals that are going on. I know that he's under. I think they're investigating for bribery. I know that he took money and he was bribed. So there are other things that are impacting. You probably have swaths of this Minnesota government that's all under investigation right now. We just don't know it per se, but we'll find out very soon. Yes, and 50% of most of the population in Minnesota that is Somali-based are part of this, or the refugee are all what? They're here fraudulently. They're all collecting checks legally. It's pretty bad stuff that we're facing here, Marshall.
I think he has. I mean, he's got the notoriety. I mean, he's got the recognizable name and all of that. He's got all that, and it's just Minneapolis. It's the problem mainly. That's where they're all the Muslim Somalis are concentrated. But I think the rest of the state is, they're all hunters and stuff. They're all big into hunting and fishing up there, man.
Well, President Trump saying that that they destroyed the state is an understatement. We'll get to it. So
that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief.
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also saying
I wouldn't be proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just a
tribes
killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. It's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because, it just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Waltz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state, it's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with, go back to your own country and figure out your Constitution. All she does is complain about this country. And without this country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia's.
Look at the reaction of these people. Look at Ted Cruz. Look at some of these people. There's Sean Duffy. Do you think some of these congressmen and senators want to hear that? You think they're totally touting this president and his line, or are they just trying to swallow and digest that? Just look at the reaction of these people. That's one thing I noticed. I don't think these people, that are behind President Trump are all on his side about this. Let's listen to this.
Considered by many to be the worst country on earth.
Look at the reactions.
I haven't been
Some of them
there.
are
I won't
funny.
be there
They're
anytime
smiling.
soon. I hope. But what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable. And a lot of it starts with the governor. A lot of it starts with Barack Hussein Obama, because that's when people started coming in. And you have to have people come in that are going to love our country, cherish our country. They want to kiss our country goodnight. They talk about our country. We want them to pray for our country. This is not the people living in Minnesota. And she's a disaster. She should not be, and her friends shouldn't be allowed. Frankly, they shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople, okay? They shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople because they don't represent the interests of our country. Anybody else?
Yeah, I mean, look, what is he saying? Is he saying that something is going to change? Is something going to happen with her? Is she going to be removed, or any of these people, the dual passport, dual citizens, or any of the other ones like Jay Apala, or any of the other ones that don't love this country, that obviously, they swear allegiance to another flag? What do you think is going to happen to them? Are we waiting for the shoe to drop on Minnesota? All right, not just getting ICE in there with them now. They have over 100 law enforcement in there right now going through that, sweeping that up. But what does that lead to? Are we going to get to more stuff regarding the governor, Keith Ellison, many other people that are involved here? I mean, how does that tie back to the congresswoman? I don't know. I don't know how this ties back, but in some way, we have to see that what President Trump is saying is something on the horizon with Minnesota. I think so. We'll find out very soon, Marshall.
The problem with everything, the problem with the way all those people, the way they acted standing behind him, they're so afraid and so spineless of being called
They
a
look
racist.
like that.
Yeah, they're so afraid of being called a racist. And they should have been behind Trump doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Nodding their fucking heads. What the hell, man? We got a bunch of cucks that are ready to take it up the ass from these Somalian people.
Yeah, they're
stand up for your fucking country, man.
No,
Jesus
I know
Christ.
they're worried about the backlash. They're worried about becoming a xenophobe or a racist or a nativist or
So
a jingoist.
what? They shouldn't care.
Yeah,
They
that's the
shouldn't
problem.
care.
They look very stoic sitting there and stuff, and maybe behind the scenes they do support President Trump, but some of their reactions you could tell were very cringeworthy. They weren't really excited to be like, yes, exactly, let's get him out, because they're all on the take in some way. Here we go. From the skiff, this massive election fraud in our own CIA is behind it, along the globalist billionaires like Soros, CCP, Venezuela, and the Democrat Party. This is only happening in America. There's an organized effort using taxpayer dollars. The election fraud cartel consists of running propaganda, social media slander, campaigns, coordinated protests, and riots. Listen to this, and I got more.
I'm listening to apparently a former CIA operative talk about how they shave votes. Not in Democrat counties. They'll shave a few percent using the machines in Republican counties where people aren't really suspecting it, where the vote total should have been 60%, but it's only 58%. Again, I don't know how they do it exactly, but I do know that we don't even come close to investigate voter fraud or welfare fraud. We don't put anywhere near the amount of effort that we should be putting into this.
Well, Senator, you just broke some huge news there. You're listening to do you have a CIA whistleblower that is saying that they're...
And again, is this true? Again, you hear all these things. This is on a podcast, some apparently CIA operative but let's face it, I believe the CIA has doctored elections in other countries. That's probably indisputable.
Yes.
Those same types of operations, do those occur here in America? My guess is they do. Do I have hard evidence? No. But again, we just don't investigate it. The people, we're all harmed by it, but for example, the losing candidate, they don't have the funds. We don't have the time yet to certify these elections. So election fraud goes largely uninvestigated. We uncover, again, in your earlier segment, 500 phony registrations. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Well, look, I think what he's basically saying, he's giving you a summation of understanding that where we're going with this. I'm going to show you something from Real Lindell TV. This was really good. And, speaking of this, because there's been a lot of stuff with Real Lindell TV breaking stuff. Let's listen to this because this was Patrick Byrne, I think, coming this out. He says, they overthrew the United States and almost got away with it. Patrick Byrne exposes Venezuela cartel CIA nexus. Okay. And that's why I wanted to set that up, because what you saw there from the center, Ron Johnson, he was saying in something in summation to this, or something that he was trying to equivocate to. But let me just say this before I start this, because this was an excellent overview. I said this, and I've been saying this for a couple of times now. I said it last night on Thomas's show, and this is all breaking, is Venezuela a Chinese Trojan horse? Does Trump have evidence that connects Maduro to Biden operations of the stolen election in 2020 to 2024? Smartmatic, Dominion, etc. Did Biden work out a deal with Nicolas Maduro to import a criminal invasion insurgency to allow these cartels entryway to operate, even control American cities, to interfere with our elections, increase the narco trafficking, child trafficking, and to subvert our U.S. agencies along the way by bribing them? How long ago did this date back? Chavez in 2004, 2020. Now, everything that I've said last night and what I said earlier on about a week or two ago, all this stuff is breaking. Listen to Patrick Byrne here.
Attack on the United States in history by a long shot. It was almost completely successful. And they can't, in my view, I would be deeply disappointed in President Trump. I would have been if he had let them buy their way out of that with a nice deal for the U.S. on some gold fields or donors or something. So it's good. I get this. He senses, I sense he feels the same way. What they did to us is so extraordinary. Something has to be done that for 250 years, when people think about doing something like this in the United States again, they remember what happened to Venezuela. This is insane that Rick Grinnell is trying to patch this over, and has been trying to patch this over and smooth it out. Oh, but the U.S. will get such and such oil fields. You're kidding me. This is 1,000 times worse than Pearl Harbor. They don't get out of it by giving us some drilling rights. Secondly, I have to say I'm very pleased with Marco Rubio. I was concerned about Rubio. I liked Rubio when he emerged years ago, and I always thought he was smart. But Rubio had in his background some people who actually are linked to the cartel. David Rivera, his college roommate's in prison now for washing money for the cartel. So I worry that he might be soft. I was completely wrong, since he has really laid to rest any doubts I had about him. He's been hard like a nail on we got to do what's right about these guys. And by the way, what the world's going to find out is Venezuela is the cancer. Venezuela is the cancer of Latin America, and all kinds of lefties and centrists that the world knows about, men of the people, the Kirchners in Argentina, the Peronists, they took $700 million from the cartel. The Danny Noriega and Danny Ortega in Nicaragua, he took like $350 million from the cartel. So these men of the people are out there are leading their people into immiseration and oppression, while they themselves are getting fat off these bribes from the cartel. They have corrupted Latin America, and they almost corrupted.
They've corrupted them. They've been bought off, bribed, whatever. All right, and they've been using Smartmatic, Dominion, whatever this type of scenario is. That the argument is that's how they stay in power legitimately, and they look the other way. They help facilitate and orchestrate the viability for these cartels to grow and to spread out, and that's why we're there. This affects Colombia. This is going to affect Cuba. This is definitely affecting Venezuela. And the argument is Maduro legitimate? Is he a legitimate leader? We go back to 2004 when I was talking about when you think about Chavez. Okay, so you have to consider all these things that are in there, and that's why there. President Trump was asked, all right, in the meeting at the cabinet meeting, and he said what? He said, "Is Maduro going to leave?" And he goes, "He will. He's going to leave." And they're saying now we're going to hit him on land. Okay. So I think when more and more people and more of this information is coming out, because I think it is that they don't want to tip the hand simultaneously, but I think they're trying to make sure that a lot of these people surrender. And if they don't surrender, we're going to hit them. We're going to show them how bad it is. But I think people are slowly waking up to the idea of how serious this is. And the cancer, not what he's saying, is that has spread in the hemisphere. Look, you got the Monroe Doctrine, all right, keeping outsiders outside of our hemisphere, outside of America's, okay? Then you have the War Powers Act, which is about keeping the president from setting American forces into war without Congress's permission. All right, so you got these two different things. You got a hemispheric geopolitics versus domestic checks and balances. That's what's taking place right now. You got senators coming out saying, we want war powers resolutions. We want all this to the table because they want to know what's going on. Ask yourself, why do they want to know what's going on? Because they've been bought off too. They've been paid as well. Why are so many senators pulling their hair out about this? There's Miami Herald said there's over 12,000 rental properties in Miami, all right, that are leased out through Venezuela contract LLCs because they're coming in here and what are they doing? Using these den operations to spread and grow their enterprise outside of that. How many of these other things are happening in other city-state fiefdoms? I'm going to continue this.
U.S. They almost took us.
Well, and I want to get to the more blockers that perhaps have been, like you teased something we know and hope could be published within the next 24 hours that would shed more light on what we're talking about exactly right now. But let's talk about the CIA, because it seems to point that many of our CIA assets have been corrupted, perhaps bribed, have been flipped. We kind of knew that. We just didn't know by whom. I think we thought it was just China back in 2020. Remember, you talked about John.
Is Patrick Byrne, to me, look a lot thinner Steve Bannon? Doesn't he look like Steve? He's like growing into Steve Bannon. He either looks like Steve Bannon or growing into Steve Bannon.
He's morphing into Steve Bannon, this guy. Yeah. Look at him.
I know. All right, let's continue.
Ratcliffe, he was the acting director of national intelligence during the election of 2020. He was supposed to put out a report on foreign interference, right? We knew there was a Chinese component of this.
Oh, hear that?
China and Russia are allies of Venezuela, but our intelligence agencies got into the middle of it and said, you can't put out this intelligence related to China. They said, they agree it's happening, but they don't want Trump's campaign to memorialize it on the record, was what one whistleblower recently told me, and said the CIA absolutely stopped this intelligence from being shared in 2020. Ratcliffe knew that. He's now 2025 running the CIA, leading a lot of those people who stopped him from really doing his job in 2020. And nothing's been changed. These people we've not gotten rid of these people. It's the people who did this in 2020 and have probably been compromised by Venezuela and Cuba are still there. And they are currently blocking this intelligence, or actively trying to block relevant intelligence from still reaching the president.
Okay. Moving on with that. Marshall, your thoughts as I continue on? I got so much more.
I don't think it's China per se. I don't think it's the Xi China. It's not the Xi China.
No.
It's the, I don't want to say deep state, but it's certain families that are there. Just like we've got the Rockefellers.
Right.
Well, they've got their version of them too. These are the people, and it's like almost an oligarchy corporatocracy. And they're all focused. They're all zoomed in on Venezuela. That's what I think is going on, and they've got a lot of power and a lot of weaponry that behind them that they can use and all that. So
this is what
we've got that fleet out there for.
This is what Emerald Robinson is talking to Patrick Byrne about. This is the exclusive, and I have some talking points about what General Flynn said about that. Thank you, Super D, for the cookie, Thea for the can, Darlo gift of the can. Moved over here. Hey guys, thanks for your perseverance. Hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you had one too. Thank you, Thea, for the can. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Welcome in everybody from Woke Societies. I hope you sit back and enjoy the show. If you want to help out the show, you can drop us a gold pill. You can help out MarshallKofi.com/surfdog74. You can help us out on Rumble with some Rumble rants. All right, moving on. So this is it from the Daily Express. Exclusive Farmer Maduro spy chief's letter to Trump seeks to expose narco-terrorist war against the United States. The Dallas Express obtained explosive letter addressed to President Trump from Hugo Carvajal Barrios, the former director of military intelligence from Venezuela and once one of the most powerful figures inside the government of Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro. The letter shared exclusively with DX by Caravel's attorney, I think that's how you pronounce it, Robert Fetel, a former senior Justice Department prosecutor, marks the first time the retired Major General has put these warnings on the record since pleading guilty early this year. Caravel, extradited from Spain after a lengthy international manhunt, says his writing to atone and to alert Americans what he describes as a coordinated, state-directed campaign targeting the United States. To be brief, former Venezuelan intelligence chief Hugo Caravel once topped Chavez and Maduro insider pleaded guilty in federal court in June and now warns Venezuela is a narco-terrorist organization intentionally targeting the United States. Caravel alleges the Maduro regime weaponized cocaine, collaborated with FARC, ELN, Cuban intelligence. These are all agencies of the Western Hemisphere, of the Southern Hemisphere that are operating in alliance to terrorist organization and Hezbollah, which we reported on about the Isla of Margarita, where they were training Hezbollah terrorists and extorted violent criminal networks, including Tren de Aragua, into the United States. He asserts Venezuelan and Cuban intelligence infiltrated U.S. institutions for 2 decades, including military installations. He claims Smartmatic was developed inside Venezuela as an election manipulation tool, later deployed abroad. Yep. And Caravel says he supports Trump Venezuela policies and stands ready to provide further details. Warning delivered. Let me get out of this. Sorry. It says, here it is. The Maduro regime is not a legitimate government. What is its transshipment organization allowing cocaine and other drugs to move through Venezuela on airplane ships headed toward the United States? Period. At the end. Currently maintains a $50 million reward. The following letter reflects Caravel's statements, claims the Dallas Express. It just goes through here. I'm not going to go into this. It just goes narco-terrorism, Tren de Aragua. These are all counterintelligence and espionage against the United States that are using Tren de Aragua and other groups like Hezbollah and many other people that are participating in this southern terrorism like FARC. Smartmatic and your elections was born as an electoral tool, Venezuelan regime, but soon derived into a tool to help keep the regime stay in power. I know this because I placed as the head of the IT of the National Electoral Council. In this position, he reportedly directed to me. The Smartmatic system can be altered. This is a fact that this technology was later exported abroad, including the United States. Regime operatives maintain relationships with election officials and voting machine companies inside your country. I do not claim that every election is stolen, but I state with certainty that the elections can be rigged with software that has been used to do so. Boom. There you go. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to go into this too more. I'm going to get to General Flynn's conversations. Marshall, your thoughts, because that's pretty. I mean, that's pretty bad. I mean, when you think about it, it's like, I mean, that's the big stuff there, right? I mean, what do you think?
Something that he's going to be offered something, a deal he can't refuse, and he'll move on and move out, and then they can have an election that's actually legitimate. And I guess that woman.
What's the odds of? Do we hit them or not? Do we go in there? We drop bombs?
I don't think.
I already believe we're already there. I believe we're elements of either JSOC, clandestine groups, whether it's CIA or because Trump's already said he's already activated the CIA in there. We don't know what CIA is working for the president or this administration. I don't know what elements of what groups are inside there, whether it's Delta Force or what have you, that are working inside to take down the internal groups per se. But Trump's like, we're going to hit them soon.
Yeah, I think it'll be I don't think it's going to be a full-on, massive thing where it's all over the news and this and that. I think it's going to be kind of like what you mentioned, some special ops guys, a little nudge.
Well, you're going to need recon there, especially if you're going to have a minor ground incursion. Okay, because you want to sweep out this, but you're going to drop some bombs first. You're going to shoot over some missiles in targeted areas and stuff. You're going to do some recon to figure out where these places are, where to hit, who to take out, to decapitate the heads of the state per se and stuff. I mean, is that maybe just a warning shot across the bow? I mean, I don't know what's happening. We don't know what's going on with Maduro in some way. President Trump's like he will surrender. So, and then is he buying time?
Just some rockets from the destroyers out there, a few direct hits, maybe a little bit of work inside there without any major, incursion of jets and all that. I don't think it's going to get that,
Well, you have senators right now. You have Tim Kaine. You have Rand Paul, the traitor. You have many others in there that are basically saying, hey, look, you have Mark Warner. You have many others saying we need war powers resolution. And why do they want that? What they want information. They want information from the administration and from what do you call it? And I think because they're going to leak it out. That's what they want, because they're going to lose money in this. All right. They're all a part of the bribe and the grift and the theft. And I do believe that's the reason why they're moving forward with this. All right. The deals were done behind the scenes and they were all getting money and kickbacks from other places. Listen to General Flynn, what he said. This letter is a strategic warning that I just read about the Daily Express putting that out from a man who spent decades inside a command structure of a hostile foreign power. Caravel confirms what many of us have stated repeatedly. The Maduro regime functions as a fully integrated narco-terrorist apparatus conducting an unconventional campaign inside of and against the United States of America. That's why we're there. He details how Venezuela weaponized cocaine and coordinated operations with FARC, ELN, Cuban intelligence, and Hezbollah, and how it built and exported violent criminal networks like Trinidad. All right, he goes on to say, he goes, for more than 20 years, and how Smartmatic was developed to keep the regime in power. Caravel now states that President Trump's policies were acts of essential national defense and that he is prepared to further provide further classified details. As we Americans must demand more transparency about the role of the rogue deep state elements inside of our own national security, the system who have been or are currently projecting the Venezuelan regime have been for decades. So what he's saying is that the people that are trying to interfere and project and like we're discussing right now, I'm going to get to it real quickly. Let me get out of this and I'll get back to that are trying to get involved and to draw cover fire over this, Marshall, in some way, is also the same group of people that are leading into the nonstop subversion with what's going on with Pete Hegseth.
Yeah, they're trying to do that. They're trying to pull that guy out of there, trying to coup that guy.
Right.
I mean, we all know about
well,
that.
That coup leads
they just
to
won't shut up.
Yeah.
They just
right. We're going to get to that, and it's all interconnected. I do believe we're going to find out why these senators all of a sudden want war powers resolutions and stuff. This is a non-state actor. They've committed and they've violated executive orders left and right. Look, we already know they're involved with election theft. It's not just killing American citizens. He doesn't need to declare this. The Monroe Doctrine is clear. All right, it's protecting our hemisphere. All right. And the thing is, they're in violation of this. And President Trump, I think, is going to move forward with this. They're going to try and go after Hegseth. They're bringing in Admiral Bradley tomorrow, and they want to try and do this. Brian Cates put this out. Oh, the good old boy country club, Chamber of Commerce, Pentagon GOP, uniparty machine has thoughts, everyone. Deep thoughts about Pete Hegseth and the job he's doing. There's a concerted effort to coup Pete Hegseth. Yes, there is. This one, he goes, let's see. Tillis, whoever ordered second strike on survivors of boat attack, if substantiated, needs to get the hell out of Washington. Tom Tillis is gone next year. You know that, right? He's out. He's out of there. So what is he doing? Why is he chirping away and stuff like that? What are they trying to suggest in some way? They're trying to bring forward some way that they can, before Trump goes in, they can set up Pete Hegseth, maybe force him to resign, maybe in some way to try and impeach him. That's what they want to do, and remove him from Secretary of War position and installed, and we'll get to what Alex Jones is saying with Laura Loomer. She's saying, and I've read some of the stuff, but I've heard this from other people as well, but I'll just cover this now.
That the stories that are being planted against Secretary of War Hegseth are coming from inside Secretary of Army Dan Driscoll's office. And if people have been following my reporting over the last few months, they know that I have, called out the Army Secretary multiple times for some of his behavior since he has been the Army Secretary. Now it's even more concerning to find out that individuals in the Army Secretary's office who want Dan Driscoll to assume the role of Secretary of War are planting these stories. And if I was Pete Hegseth, I'd put my head on a swivel because, they're not getting these planted stories from nowhere. Clearly, people inside the Department of War are working with the deep state and the fake news media to undermine Hegseth because ultimately they want to stage a coup. And this is why it's all coming out at the same time. All the attacks on Secretary of War Hegseth regarding the strikes in Venezuela, the Signal Gate report, they want him out because, he is he's what President Trump would call central casting for for the warrior spirit or the warrior mentality that we want our members of the armed services to embody here at the Department of War.
Okay, so what do you think about that? I mean, I think there is an element of where they want to actually impeach him, remove him. They want to make sure that they draw him out. If they can remove him, they would try and cripple the president. At least from their standpoint, they could. That's why they're bringing in Admiral Bradley in, because of what took place with the boats, which we're going to cover, and Signalgate that just popped up, which we're going to cover as well. Let me get into this right now. Go ahead.
I think they want to get rid of him also mainly because of the military.
Right.
And they know that the military is going to be the next button that's going to take their asses out.
Right.
That's
exactly it.
That's
well, they also want to.
They're not worried about paying Bondi though, Brett.
But they also want to show,
not because they know that Pete Hegseth is going to be the one in. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, they want to show that if they can remove Pete Hegseth and that they'll claim that he was acting unlawfully through the president to do these things, then they can actually stop the military in its tracks. All right, from any type of activity that's going to go forward. All right, and declare orders unlawful. That was the plan all along. And the only way they can do this at this point is to what? Impeach. All right, not just impeach and remove him, but impeach anything that he is doing. All right, in some way, what his orders are per se. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to broach a way of how they can interfere, interrupt, and corrupt the chain of command through the Secretary of War from the president to the top generals, all right? Because the argument about bringing Admiral Bradley in, about him giving the order or Pete Hegseth giving the order, is really about neither here or there. The question is, did Admiral Bradley, all right, take an order from the Secretary of War and say, hit him again? And Admiral Bradley said what? Or Pete Hegseth turns around and says, Admiral Bradley did it on his own. He didn't need me to tell him, hit him again. So that's the argument they're going to say. And they're going to ask him, all right, and I don't know, I think it's going to be a closed-door session. They're going to ask him, did you, all right, follow orders willingly, or do you feel that was an unlawful act? That's what they're prosing here, and that's what they're trying to lead up. This comes from a Muse. There's so much good stuff breaking. Former Venezuelan intel chief says Maduro exported gains into the U.S. during Biden's border collapse and has 2 decades of espionage against America. I mean, there's no clear, let's just say, resolution here. And I think Patrick Byrne is right. Smoothing out deals or whatever it is for Maduro in some way so he can go to Ukraine, Iran, Russia to get out scot-free is bullshit. I think in some ways that President Trump he's going to be forced to leave whether he likes it or not.
Yeah.
All right, whether he's going to be standing up or laying on the ground. Either way, he's going to be gone. But the idea that we're going to allow this to take place is that it's not just about what they wanted with the oil reserves and natural resources and all this other stuff. It's about what? Crushing the cartel. It's about breaking the control, the apparatus that Venezuela apparently has with Colombia, Cuba, and many other, let's just say, Southern Hemisphere countries that are operating, infiltrating, and what? Violating our elections. And that is something that is really, that we're not even really discussing. And they're doing it through what? Bribing people with all this drug money that's all over the place. They're using the narco trafficking in some way to what? To exchange weapons, to train terrorists in Island Margarita, and many other things. In a stunning letter obtained by the Dallas Express, Hugo Caravel, which I just talked about, once Maduro's top intelligence chief and a key figure in the Cartel de los Soles, tells President Trump that Venezuela had weaponized cocaine, exported criminal gangs, and what have you. There's also a discussion that Biden pardoned, okay, in exchange for $350 million or whatever it was to pardon a lot of these people, and so they could come in through the back door and operate on our territory with no what? No control, no oversight, no nothing. Smart market election manipulation tools exported abroad. Caravel says Biden-Harris border collapse allowed Venezuelan operatives to enter the United States and asserts Trump's hardline policies were not only correct, but necessary. So here you go. So Maduro intelligence chief admits Venezuela deployed gangs to the United States. We've been invaded. He says the regime treats narcotics as a strategic weapon against Americans and insists Trump was correct. I think right now we're getting closer. The more and more you see stuff like this and what is taking place, the more and more I think that once we go kinetic, if we do, I think there's a good chance we will in Venezuela, because we're going to have to sweep through this and take this out. It's not just putting a blockade up there like the Cuban Missile Crisis. We're going to have to go out in there and sweep through this, whether we're going to have to do bombing campaigns, whether we're going to have to arrest the generals, execute these people. I don't know if we're going to bring people alive. I think the reason why they're killing these people on the boats, because President Trump knows these people, there's no jail you could put them in. There's no way you can dispatch with these people. You don't give them the affordability, the viability to what? To get a trial. Okay? This is what the idea of understanding the Monroe Doctrine is. And enemy combatants. People need to recognize how bad this is, Marshall, and understand we are at war. We have 5 national declared emergencies that are simultaneously happening, not to count the Patriot Act that we've been under since 2002.
Yeah, they know that Pete Hegseth is over the target, and he's going to be leading this whole campaign.
Right.
And it's not just in Venezuela, because he's leading the campaign also, or will be leading the campaign here in the United States. In all of these cities where you've got Antifa and all these protests, that whole color revolution that they're trying to pull, and that's what they're trying to do in our country, they know that he is going to stop it, and they got to get rid of him.
Thank you, Thea, for the 300 gold pills. Super D for the 187 gold pills. Thank you so much. Curious Cat gifted a cookie. Have you read Emma Robinson lately? Well, I just played one of her stuff. I got another one I'm covering too as well. She's been on fire lately. Yes, I've been covering it. I've been reading it. I put it in my X and my Telegram. So breaking, Kane, Paul, Schumer, Schiff file war powers resolution to block the United States and armed forces to engage in hostilities within and against Venezuela unless authorized by Congress. Can you go figure, right? Today, U.S. Senators Tim Kaine, Rand Paul, etc., are all sitting there filing war powers resolutions to block the United States armed forces to engage in hostilities with or against Venezuela unless authorized by Congress. President Trump said yesterday there will be strikes on land very soon. War powers resolution is privileged, and he may be called up to vote on the Senate floor. Well, I didn't see them bringing this up when Obama was doing drone strikes in all these countries, all right? I didn't see when Bush and Cheney were doing stuff all over the place. I mean, honestly, the idea that this is only necessary because it's Donald Trump, and this is not going to play in. The Monroe Doctrine is clear, okay? And when you understand where we are right now, this is not China, Russia, whatever. This is a non-state actor that's involved with what? The war on terrorism. I mean, it's not narco trafficking. The executive orders are clear. The executive order 13484 really tells you a large, let's just say, understanding of the national emergency that we're in, that we're operating on. And none of these things actually will interfere with President Trump moving forward in some way. You'll see a big whole thing about this. They'll try to impeach Trump. They're going to go after him. They're going to try and do everything they can. But the more and more this information is released, all right, the more and more these people are going to look like boobs. And you know what? They're going to look even more, let's just say, guilty, because look, they're saying, why are you trying to block this when all this information is coming out? And if this is true, we're at war, baby. We're at war. And what are you doing? Because we got an election next year. Some of you people up for re-election, it's not going to look good for you. Although President Trump campaigned on no more wars and his administration are unilaterally moving us closer to Venezuela, they are doing so without providing critical information to the American people. Yes, I understand that the idea is that the campaign about tipping your hand per se, feeding more information out to the public to explain this for, there has to be more, let's just say, rationale. But also, you don't want to go into too much because they're trying every way they can to use it against President Trump to block his administration. To actually, he has the right to do it. The administration claims the military action is needed to address the real scourge on drugs in our communities. I didn't see back in 89 and 90 the war on drugs. I saw a video with Joe Biden saying, yes, please take out the narco terrorists all over the place. We went into Panama. You had Democrats applauding and clapping at the time. And all of a sudden now, you're all supporting narco traffickers. What does that tell you about our Senate? It's wholly captured and wholly corrupt. It's almost embarrassing right now that we're sitting here that they want war powers resolution, all right, to stop President Trump from ending the trafficking, the narco trafficking, the narco terrorism that is being what? And the fact is that we've been invaded. I mean, they don't want to talk about these things in this manner, Marshall. And it seems to me it's odd that they're going to try and move forward with this, but it's going to fail. It's going to blow right back in their face, and they're going to look really, really shitty.
It's exposing them big time. I mean, you look at Rand Paul, now he's looking like a schmuck. I mean, these people are being exposed so hard. I think a lot of this is what it's all about. I think what we've been going through for the last year since Trump got elected is a massive exposure thing, because you got to get the people behind it. Once you get the normies and the NPCs behind it and they see what's going on, they're like, yeah, okay, I understand now. So I think that's where really all this is leading.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, well, Schiff, forget about Schiff, Schumer, all that, but Rand Paul's looking like a bigger tool. And look, all they're doing is hurting themselves. They're exposing their own, let's say, criminality. If you got nothing to hide and you're not scared about anything, why are you putting up this? What is it about you that you want to what? In some way, defend Venezuela? That you think that what President Trump is doing or Pete Hegseth is doing is a violation of international law? There is no law that says that. They're in an international body of water. Okay? You don't know what's being transported on there. All right? And the idea that they're claiming that innocent people are getting murdered and killed and blown out of the sky, well, I didn't see anybody sitting there about Obama with the drones or anybody else that was killing American citizens. I mean, honestly, the fact is that all of a sudden now we're raising holy hell over something that what? You don't know what's really going on. You know, that's funny. Why don't Schumer, Schiff, Kane, and Paul explain what they perceive is taking place instead of saying, we want to know more what's going on? Because what they want to do is they want to leak it out. I think that's the bottom line. Let's see. Darla, Gift to the Can. Can the military use microwave technology to eliminate large numbers of Muslim communities? It's going to take decades to port all these illegals out. 20 million people. There was a report. We're at 49 million people in this country. One Thunder, Gift to the Can. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Let's hear your thoughts, comments, questions, and concerns. You can help out Marshall, Ko-Fi.com/surfdog74. What's up, Tracer C4? Alita. Yep. Moving on. So this is the argument I was saying earlier about Hegseth or Bradley. They want to make sure they break up the chain of command. They want to make sure that they injure one of these two in some way, or basically show that Hegseth is giving orders and that the military is what? Refusing them. They want to make it that way. They also want to show that Bradley, is not actually following orders per se on his own, that he's running rogue. They want to make it so that they can splinter the narrative, all right, divide and conquer, and make it so that things are out of control. And they want to make sure that the military chain of command, the American people, see that what you have is rogue elements operating outside military law and what they're trying to suggest there. U.S. Defense Secretary, White House have defended second strike, but Trump said he would not have wanted it. Okay, that's what they're claiming here. All right, United States President Trump administration facing political and legal firestorm over reports that its military carried out a second strike in the boat, which Washington claims was carrying drugs after two people survived the initial attack. At the heart of the controversy are two questions: who ordered the second strike on the boat, and was it legal? And that's basically how this is going to be really discussed in some way. You might probably see JAG officers testifying. You might probably see how this is all going to be broken down into international maritime law, UCMJ law, rules of engagement, whatever. Operation Southern Spear, major campaign. Trump administration claims the aim is at dismantling the Trump trafficking networks. It's actually far greater. And I think that they're not leading with that. They're leaving a lot of this stuff out. And the more and more this is coming out, I think the more and more you'll find out in either congressional testimony or other things that will be put out. President Trump will probably address the nation about this. I think he's going to have to. The first strike destroyed the vessel and killed 9 people. Okay, so it goes on. The mission commander, Admiral Frank Bradley, then ordered a second strike, which killed 2 survivors. The September 2nd attack kickstarted a broader U.S. operation, killed more than 80 people, have been killed, strikes more than 20 boats. Experts called these attacks illegal under international law. Well, I'm not going to go into too much about this. Really, it's potato. But I think in some way, the administration, as Pete Hegseth has said, is that between JAG officers and many other different people have basically said, and through the guidelines with the White House counsel, I mean, there are many people said they have the authority on the military law. And there's guidelines that are laid out what they can and cannot do. First of all, the War Powers Nation, all right, to get that in some way, War Powers Act in some way, all right, we're not putting American forces there yet. We're not saying that they are. There might be intelligence operations, JSOC, many other individual groups. We're not having a flotilla there of people on the ground as a ground assault like in Iraq or in in Afghanistan. But I think what they're trying to figure out in some ways, what is afoot here? What is it that they want to know? Because they're looking like, hey, they're not looking on the side. They're just trying to say, hey, look, we're trying to prevent a war and stuff that President Trump says, oh, yeah, I'm the peacemaker all the time. I think this is the more this continues on, the more and more the blowback they're going to see and how this is going to kick sand in their face, because the more information that we're seeing about what's taking place shows you Venezuela is a very nasty, dirty slop of fly shit. I mean, it's so bad right now that when you look at how, let's just say, infiltrated the country is, controlled, captured, facilitated, many elements of different groups are inside and activated all over the place. We just don't even know how big and expansive it is. That to say that Colombia and Cuba and then Venezuela are all part of a larger infiltration operation to take down the United States through Smartmatic and many other different forms of, let's just say, subversion with Trinidad and many other elements of our groups that are basically walked through the back door of our country because Biden gave them a pass. Because he took money, gave them the pass, pardoned people, and said, go ahead, have fun. Go ahead, have fun.
Yeah, they built up this whole area over the years that Biden was in there, and probably before that. They've been gradually building it up with foreign whatever, these.
Well, the question is, would we not know it without Biden? I mean, think about it. This was going on since 2004 with Chavez to about 2000.
What Trump needs to do is one thing I would say is do not fall in, don't get suckered into their trap about who ordered the second attack.
Right.
Don't even get drawn to it. Say we don't have any comments on that. I would just move on. Move on. It's time to move on.
Bradley's going to be asked that question. Bradley's going to ask that question. Someone's going to answer that. Okay. He's either say I was ordered to hit it or I ordered it myself. That's it. And that's how you leave it. And that's how you leave it. You don't leave it to chance by saying, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You don't fill in the blank and play Mad Libs.
Don't keep
you don't want to
playing
fucking
games.
do that.
Yeah, but don't keep playing games with it. Just get it done and then get out. That's it. It's done. This is we are dealing with basically a war situation, not a technical war, but and so you can't just keep, because they're trying to trap them by this shit, and so they can get rid of Hegseth. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to use this whole thing as a ruse, a narrative to get rid of Hegseth.
Well, this is part of the slow coup. This is the never-ending subversion and sedition that's taking place by, again, interfering with the Secretary of War, all right, the top generals, the admirals in some way, to, again, go and meticulously find the transcription of who gave what to what order, and so they can go through and slowly just try to make it bigger than what it is, and to interrupt again the chain of command, interrupt the orders to make it look like they don't know what's going on. No one's taking orders. No one's listening, and they're doing a wonderful job at it. They are, because that's why these things have to. And it shouldn't be a closed door meeting. We should know it. We should see it. Mark Warner says uniform military may help save us from this president. See, they're hoping they get some rogue generals in there. Say, yeah, I was forced to do this. I didn't want to do this. See, that's where we're going with this. That's if Admiral Bradley is one of these people. I'm not sure that he is or isn't. I don't even know the guy. All right. But if Hegseth's saying that he did it on his own and he turns around and says, no, I didn't do it on my own, I was ordered to do it, then we got a problem.
Of the Armed Services and Intelligence Committees about those attacks. Joining us now, one of the lawmakers who will meet with Admiral Bradley tomorrow, Vice Chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee, Democratic Senator Mark Warner of Virginia. Senator, thank you for coming on the show. What are some of the questions that you will want answers to from Admiral Bradley tomorrow?
I'm going to want to get answers on what did Pete Hegseth order? Why haven't we seen the whole unedited video? If there's nothing inappropriate here, you could have cleared this up without the admiral coming in. He's got a great reputation. I respect him. I want to get the truth, and I'm not sure we've had the truth from Hegseth yet. Remember this.
No, what they want to do is splice Admiral Bradley's words to make it look like or trap him into saying that Pete Hegseth ordered this, all right, and then I did this, and then be asked, do you think that was a lawful order? That's where we're going. That's how they're going to spiral this out. And if they're going to do this for people to see, I think they will, then that goes into the idea that the media is going to play this out and stuff. See, I think that they're going to have to basically nip this in the bud right away. Yep, I took it as that, hey, look, we took it out here at the end, and it was my order, and that's it. Address it full on, all right? I mean, the question is, it's not about if Pete ordered him to do it or not. The question is, did he follow orders or did it on his own? And they're going to look like Pete is what? Out of control or doesn't know what he's doing or not like paying attention to this. But they're going to do every way they can to position themselves to make sure they mutilate the chain of command in such a way and denigrate it that it looks like it's half-assed.
This is an administration that has treated the uniformed military with unprecedented disrespect when they were all brought to get a pep rally in front of Hegseth and Trump. This is an administration that's fired, uniform generals from the head of the NSA, the head of the Defense Intelligence Agency.
So they also want to know what's going on. By getting these type of hearings, they bring in an admiral, so to speak, or other people to speak about this. They can ask questions of what's going on. What's their operation like? Where are we going with this? What's intended? All these other things that may or may not be answered. And that's what they're looking for. They're fishing.
And I think in many ways, the uniformed military may help save us from this president and his lame people like Hegseth.
Sedition right there. May help save us from this president. Again, stoking the flame, more subversion, more subversive techniques, more sedition in some way. They're showing you what they are, what they're doing. This is not about, like, they care about those two freaking frogs that were hanging off a boat that was blown up. Are you kidding me? They could care less. They want to make sure that their operation is intact, that they're not going to lose all the back-end deals that they signed under the Biden administration that allowed Trent Irawagor, that allowed $350 million plus or whatever it is that they made a deal on the back end to be paid for by the narco-terrorists through Maduro. So the idea that this guy is sitting there, well, we got to find out in some way to make sure that the chain of command, is perfect and it's dead on. And we got to make sure that there's no ins and outs over here. We got to make sure it's definitive and that no splinter group is going out. It's such bullshit. These people are high almighty. Oh my God. We got to make sure that we're doing these things. They are doing this to cover their fucking ass. And it's embarrassing. When I sit there and I look at these people, I want to spit on them. They make me sick. The fact that they're senators of the United States, and this is what we're dealing with. They don't care if Trent Irawagor murdered all these people in the United States. They don't care about all the illegal gangs and the murders and the deaths of all innocent citizens of this country. They don't care. What they want to find out is, did the order go through about blowing up two guys in a boat that were hanging off in a military operation? They didn't care about, Irina, who was stabbed by a monster, by an animal, or how about all these other gang members that murdered women and children all through the United States, gang raped them? They don't care about them. Yes, all assets are being deployed right now.
Because I think their commitment is to the Constitution and obviously not to Trump, and I expect Bradley to adhere to that.
So, Senator, let's go a little.
I expect Bradley to hear about it. I don't want to go on too much. I think you get the gist of understanding what that is. I had a shorter clip of that, but I wanted to go through that because you see that smug look, of MSNBC co-host Minka Brzezinski. You know what a traitor she is, and her father was a globalist in some way, Illuminati, all that other crap. Marshall, your thoughts about that? What do you think about that?
He really right there shows you exactly what this is all about.
Mm-hmm.
These people are scared shitless that the military is coming after them. It's just that simple. They know that it's going to happen. They can't stop it. They want to find out anything they can about it. And they're scared shitless.
Well, the question is, how much involvement does Schiff have Warner, Kane. How about Rand Paul? Rand Paul, these libertarians, man, they make me sick. I'm sick of these guys. These fence sitters. You know what? Ride your bike without a seat and see if you enjoy it, okay? Because that's what libertarians are. Because they go either way, it seems like these days. You don't know where the hell they're going. All right, Rand Paul and Venezuela strikes. If they're armed, show us who they're armed. If they're not armed, explain to us why kill people who are not armed. My God. This guy makes Jane Fonda sitting on a fucking tank in Vietnam protesting the war, all right, look like what?
Fruitcake.
Yeah, exactly.
Total fruitcake.
Honestly, this isn't bad. I mean, dude, Rand Paul, what happened to you? We know what happened to you. And the question will be remaining to everybody out there. Do you believe in any way a lot of these senators got their cuts? Many people got their cuts from the back-end deals from the Biden administration, all right, to sow the seed of discontent and corruption while they allowed all these gangs to come in there, help steal the election through Startmatic and Dominion, paid off, and what? Were bribed, cajoled, blackmailed, bribed, paid off, cajoled, and then used the money to what? All right, to steal election, infiltrate, pay off everybody else, and then so we can continue on robbing and stealing and looting this country. Yeah, I think so. And they wanted to bring this country down in any way they can. I think it's this is so much bigger. I think when you start to see that all these people that were taking money, taking cuts off the back end, were all part of the sabotage of the United States. All part of it.
Absolutely.
Armed, show us who they're armed. If they're
show us where they're armed.
To us why we kill people who are.
Why don't we just take satellite photos? They're armed with what? With cocaine, with heroin, with fentanyl. Why don't you, you know what? Why don't we put you on one of the boats before we blow it up? Then you can expect it. So if you don't die from fentanyl poisoning, or if there's no bomb in there, so they don't run up across one of the freaking ships like USS Colon 99 and get blown to bits and we lose 30 people, you take out these what? These ships, these boats. You don't know what's in them. Why are we sitting there arguing about what's in them or not? They could be carrying a deadly disease, a biological, a radiological, some type of weapon to attack all the ships that are out there. You have to play what? Offense, not defense. My God, if this guy was the president of the United States, we would have been, I mean, you think Biden's bad? This guy's worse. He would surrender in a second. Hell, the game of Stratego, his name is right there. Okay? I mean, dude, it's embarrassing the way this guy speaks. Show us the armory. Show us the drugs. Show us all this stuff. So you're saying the guys that are out in these boats carrying all these drugs, let's just say they're drugs, they're not having any weapons? You don't think they're going to be in these speedboats carrying weapons? Have you watched Miami Vice? Have you watched any of these speedboats? You think these people are just traveling unarmed and saying, oh, no, protecting their load, so to speak? Pardon the language, but understand that. I mean, it's just almost horseshit.
We're not armed. So we
We're
used to
not
be
armed.
we think of those people taking up arms
Mr.
and
Surrender
kill
here.
our soldiers, so we killed them first. That's real. But these people, we haven't been told if they have arms. Two of them they killed in the water.
Their arm is floating in the water.
Comb your hair. You got a weave going on there.
Get drugs that were floating around in the sea. Did they look for arms? No, they just released it and said, go back to your home country.
Thea says, Rand Paul hasn't been right since he got beat up. Yes, he hasn't. He's been always a little fucked up, a little like whatever.
Yeah, he's a little flaky.
Yeah, but he's definitely gone off the deep end. You're right. I mean, I think that, yeah. I
Too
think
much medical marijuana. He's been taking on that. Chemicals.
Darlo gifted the can. Cocaine goes great with my Kentucky bourbon.
He's a Venezuelan cuck.
Oh my God, these people! It's so embarrassing. Yeah, Paul and MTG.
We're supposed to find their gun. We're supposed to go there and ask them if they have a weapon.
Yeah, let's just pull them over. Like, so you're in these big ships and come out there, and so we got the Coast Guard or the naval vessels, with the Gerald Ford out there and whatever. How about we just pull up a submarine next to them and get out and say, hey, do you have any weapons there?
You got a gun?
I guarantee you right now, with the drones there targeting, you could see what's in those boats.
They could see
It wasn't
everything.
Venezuela, it was Colombia and Ecuador. So I think this whole thing is a terrible situation.
It's a
But we
terrible
as a country should not be so easygoing as to say, well, an accusation is enough. We sometimes make mistakes, even in our country, even when we're very, very careful. The DNA Innocence Project found that there were people in jail in our country with full.
This is what the influencer shills are on X. This is what they are. These are these paid influencers. They're towing lines like this. They want us to get hit. This is not Iran. This is your back door. They snuck in the back door to get into the United States. They were bought and paid for to come in here. And you want to continue with this nonsense. You want to shill for this stuff. No more wars. When you find out the election was stolen because of Venezuela, Colombia, the cartel, and many other different groups, you'll be changing your tune rather quickly. I guarantee you right now. You'll be like, can we nuke the country? Yeah.
Due process. Well, we made a mistake. They've been in jail for 20 years. Do we really think blowing up boats without any kind of process? We got records from the Coast Guard yesterday that we released of boats stopped off of Venezuela before we had this new policy. So we've had an interdiction policy for 100 years probably, where we interdict people on the open seas and the Coast Guard does it. The Coast Guard statistics say that of boats off Venezuela, 21% of those boats didn't have drugs. And it's amazing to listen to some of the support for this. It's like 79% is pretty good. It's like, really? You kill 21% innocent people just because, well, the majority of them must be drug dealers, so we're fine. No, that's not very thoughtful.
You didn't have a fucking problem, okay? When the Bush administration murdered what? In shock and awe, like 500,000 Iraqi women and children? That didn't matter. Didn't matter. Didn't matter one bit. And there was a lot more at the end of that conclusion for a war we should have never been in, weapons of mass distraction and all that other stuff. Where were you then? Where were all these people then? They were all cucking for that. Yeah, let's hit them. Let's take it all down. Let's kill as many people as we can. But now you want to defend drug traffickers, children traffickers, human traffickers. You want to defend terrorists that are inside that country. You want to defend the people that helped steal the election in 2020. Wow. Rand Paul, time for you to go bye-bye. It's time for you to go bye-bye.
I'll tell you what, man. You know, this guy's from Kentucky, Brett.
Well, Kentucky's got a huge problem. The governor, you got to look at all these bitch people there.
People like this person and people that live in other places like that, but don't live in a state called Florida like you and I do, they don't realize it's right off of our shores. These people are right there.
Right.
I mean, they are right down our throat, man.
No, Kentucky's one of those states. It's a good old boy state, but I can tell you right now,
it's hugely corrupt, man.
It's hugely corrupt. It's
I think
Rhino
the horses
operated.
have a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, I mean,
involved.
you know, whether
All
it's
that
Massey
shit.
with Mitch
All
McConnell,
those
it's all this. It's all garbage. And it's pretty sad too. In some way, I don't know what's going to happen with Rand Paul. I don't think he's up for re-election.
State, man.
They have to know the election was stolen. Only an idiot. No, he thinks it was real. They all know. They just have to make the public think that they don't know nothing. No, I agree with that, Tracer. I think in some way the problem is that they're going to have egg on their face. When you come out and you look like from a voter standpoint defending all this stuff, and this stuff is going to smack you in the face. Trump's going to come back and smack them with so much shit in their face. They're not going to be able to have a bigger cloth to wipe it down. They're not. They're going to need more doob wipes to wipe their face down. Because I can tell you right now, they are not able to come back from this. That's the problem. They're putting themselves out there in what? In defense, saying war power. No one's going to care about it. No one's going to care about it. Do I think we're just going to blow up this country? No. And it's not about controlling the oil and all the facilities and making it some type of vassal state. I'm not saying that. I'm not even implying that at all. Okay. Even though that in some way what Patrick Byrne was saying, that there are agreements in place that were being used to bribe President Trump or to convince the administration in some way to go forward. We'll give you half the oil. We'll give you half this. We'll give you half that. And Rick Grinnell supposedly is the one, doing these machinations. And Trump's like, no, you don't get a pass. You don't get to walk. Even though Maduro might be able to walk. But everybody else is going to pay a price. especially the cartels, and maybe the deeper, more penetrating and obvious questions that we'll get to. So who is left to stand in the place of Maduro? Okay. What happens to his top generals? Are they all going to be executed in some way? I mean, we're not going to have a trial. You know what I'm saying? There are so many different things. I just think you're not going to know. It's probably best you don't know that it's all done. Tom Bevan on Dem reaction to latest narco boat strike. We've seen this movie a dozen times. My problem is that Congress is so dysfunctional that we can't seem to have adult debates. I agree with that. They can't agree on anything. They don't do anything. And they're going to lecture the president and the administration for defending America. They can't even get resolutions in place to pass the people that are put up in committee, all right, in the Senate to be what? Move through, that President Trump needs to fill these positions of these judges, other agency types per se. I mean, you have so many vacancies that are still going on, and they're still slow walking it. They want to sit there and lecture us. Why don't you stay on the Senate floor and get these bills passed, get these vacancies filled? President Trump needs his people in there, needs new judges in there. Don't waste your time lecturing me about if there's a gun in the boat. Okay? We got to see how much drugs are in there. Can we measure it out with a scale? Yeah, let's get some fucking submarine to pull up next to it and say, pardon me for a second. Do you have any guns in there? What's the weight of the drugs so we can manage before we blow it up or shoot it out of the sky? Are you kidding me?
It's fucking disgusting, man.
This is ridiculous. Are you? This is the most embarrassing. I mean, honestly.
They're really showing their ass. I mean, and it's a good thing. It's
yeah, good, because I want them all gone. Declare invoke the Insurrection Act, suspend habeas corpus, arrest them all. Let's go. Let's go. I'm tired of listening to this shit. They are selling this country. Can you believe they're senators? There is no violation. I mean, the fact that they think that they're performing some oath of duty, they're covering their ass, ladies and gentlemen. They are so covering their ass. Bevan said, while this legitimate question, he believes that Pete Hegseth, the military commander, authorized the strike, and the Trump administration are in the clear. Of course. More importantly, however, Bevan points out that this will likely be gone by next week and replaced by some other new outrage as the Democrats just move from one thing to another. I agree with that. I think the point is that they're just finding every way to play interrupt this. That's all it is. They're finding some way, all right, to slow walk this in every way they can. They can't stop it, hence the name. Nothing can stop what is coming. But I do believe in some way that all these interruptions, okay, are also a good thing. Because when you stop and stare like a rubberneck in an accident, you get to see what is actually taking place from this accident, okay? And what are these accidents on display? Tom Tillis, okay? He's a joke. He's gone anyway. Rand Paul, Adam Schiff, Tim Kaine. Come on. All these people, they're sitting there, well, we got to stop and see and stop and I mean, what do you want to do? You want to do a stop and frisk on these boats? I mean, it's almost embarrassing in some way. I mean, it's almost embarrassing in some way. And I can't wait someone to say to Rand Paul, yeah, you want to stop one of these drug runners? You don't know if there's fentanyl on there. I don't want to risk my people in danger. I don't want to. I want to see what their response is. What happens if they have a nuclear radiological bomb? What if they have some type of weapon on there that they were planning on blowing up a ship or a submarine or something that's out there in some way, headed towards it, like we see with these boats all over the place, like the USS Cole is another great example about jihadi terrorism. I mean, which, you know, if you think about it, that was one of the beginnings of 9/11 and stuff. You saw that with the U.S. Cole, 32 people were murdered because one of these boats pulled up right up to a shore to the USS Cole and blew it up. And I think in some way that this is no different. The rules of engagement have to be set. You have to protect the interest, okay, of this flotilla, this armada that's there. The 11 ships, 15,000 people, what have you. You can't sit there and say, oh, let's just stop and frisk and pause and stuff and take a minute and stuff. No. All right. You're told to stand down and you're still running boats. You're still trying to flee. You're still running boats. You were given the orders. I bet you they were given the orders and they were still, again, following this decree that, like, we got to see if we can get these drugs out of here, no matter what. And again, that's being reported. Go look at the Miami Herald. Over 12,000 LLC rental properties in Miami from Venezuela that are operating in there. And that's obviously used as drug trafficking Operation Dens. It's probably far more prevalent, but again, we're not knowing it. We're not seeing it. Let's continue on. So this is also comes from someone else asked me about Emerald Robinson. Was that you, Curious Cat? Okay. Here's the other thing. So Biden's auto pen, this comes from Lindell TV. This is another one. Cartel's 350 million Venezuelan money launderer. It was revealed Emerald Robinson at Joe Biden's administration allegedly asked Maduro to allow mass illegal migration into the United States. And that's not all, ladies and gentlemen. Now we have reports that Biden, for at least his auto pen, pardoned the treasurer of the Cartel del Sol, a man who laundered the money, 350 million, through the United States through Venezuela's network. Wow. This is just insane.
Culpability of the Biden administration. I'm about to share something that was put on my radar yesterday, Heather, at the end of the show. So everyone, please stick around for this. Not only did they, and it does seem that it is legitimate, they did ask Maduro to allow this flow of traffic into the United States, right? Not only did the Biden administration do that, Heather, but I'm about to break down on my show later in the show that the Biden, or at least Biden's auto pen, we're not sure who actually used the auto pen, pardoned the so-called treasurer for the Cartel del Sol, who have been arrested for laundering $350 million of Venezuelan money through the United States for the cartel. So I think we probably have our answer there. Now, I know also the president, he's been on a tear sharing more posts on Truth Social than I think was even humanly possible in the amount of time that he's done it. And one of those was also a video suggesting that Maduro was gone, but we haven't gotten any confirmation of that from the official channels, right? And I got a lot of calls. I know you wanted to ask about that video. I don't think you've had the opportunity yet to say, why did the president post this? Is there something you haven't told us yet? I got so many calls from people asking, is this legit? And then one person told me, well, I think the president was trolling Maduro with this video, but we've not gotten any clarification on that, which you wanted to ask about yesterday, right?
Yeah, no, we haven't gotten any clarifications. I do have a number of interviews scheduled here this afternoon with some senior Pentagon officials. We've got Tim Parlatore. He's the special advisor to the Secretary of War. That's certainly a question we could refer to him. We have Jay Hurst, the Department of War comptroller, the person who handles all the finances and the budget for the military. We have the press secretary, Kingsley Wilson, from yesterday. I'm going to be sitting down with her later.
All right. I mean, honestly, I probably said that about a week or two ago, and then I brought it up again with Thomas's show when I said, and I knew about this regarding about how much money was bought and paid for the insurgency, the criminal invasion to happen. That came for Venezuela. That's why it was a lot bigger than what most people now are reporting, that it seems to back up a lot of claims that are out there that people had suspicions about. And now that this letter that went out to President Trump, so much stuff that is unfolding. And I think that the more and more people see what's really taking place, the scarier it is. And I think less people are going to be like, yeah, take it out now, finish it. And this also goes to the heart of our election. Not just the election integrity, the credibility, about fixing our elections going forward. This goes to the heart of 2020, fixing 22, maybe how much they were involved in 24. Darla, gift of the can. Our current government is actually a mob syndicate, equivalent to the worst of the worst. RICO, treason, corruption, off the rails. Yep. Trump won, gift of the cookie. All out now. Thanks for a great show. You're welcome, Trump won. Darla, gift of the can. It's time for President Trump to do some king-type shit and make heads explode. Off with their heads, no quarter. Yeah, would USA dropping 117 gold pill, 817 gold pills. No more dirt slop. We need more gold pill love support. Boys stream, thank you so much. Super D, gifted the can. Thank you. Great show, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Comments, questions, and concerns. You can help out Marshall. Ko-fi.com/surfdog74. Go ahead, Marshall.
That's why he's letting all this. Somebody mentioned let him do the kingmaker king stuff.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't need to do. He doesn't want to. That's the last thing he wants to do, because then they'll say he's a tyrant or whatever.
A dictator.
Dictator. Yeah. So what he's doing is he's letting it all unfold, and now we're all starting to see how corrupt and how ineffective and how utterly just disgusting our Congress is. Our whole government is one like what whoever
They're a part
said
of the corruption. They're actually not only just a part of it, they're facilitated the corruption. They
Exactly.
facilitated the murders, okay, of these Venezuelan gang members, these narco traffickers, these child traffickers, and all these people that snuck up through the Panama Canal, through Texas, what have you, per se, that are working in Mexico, working outside of Mexico, that help funding terrorism, that are working with China and many other groups. China said they backed off on Venezuela and a lot of interest on their earth minerals in some way. Look, but the thing is, I'm concerned is hearing about what Patrick Byrne said about Grinnell. He's trying to smooth this out and stuff like that. And I'm not going to take it at his word per se, but why is it that you want in some way? Why would you want in some way to suggest that, well, we can make this all go away and fix this without really escalating this stuff? No, people have to pay a price. People have to be prosecuted or worse, shot for what they have done. I mean, they've invaded our country. They overthrew our country. They don't get a trial. Okay? You don't get a trial. It's not like they committed treason. They're the invaders. They were allowed to come in. Those people, they get a trial and then they get hung. But the fact that we sit back and say, where these senators are trying to, like, in some way, well, we got to massage this a little bit more. Massage what? We've been invaded. We've been attacked. Our elections have been stolen. And we're sitting here playing pussyfoot about, well, we got to worry about if there's some guns in there in here, or we got to measure the drugs. Are you kidding me?
The Congress is a literal arm of the geopolitical crime syndicate. That's what they are. And people are going to, when people start to see how corrupt our own government is and has been, they're going to be like, holy shit.
Yep.
And they're going to be pissed. And they're more and more getting pissed. They're finding out.
Right, here you go. You want to be pissed now? There you go. Pope Leo urges President Trump not to overthrow Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro. Oh, well, here you go. The CIA Vatican. Yeah, Leo. Leo's coming out swinging. He's like, please, that's how we get our money. CIA's broke. That's how they get their money. That's how they transfer the money to the Vatican from Venezuela, from the narco trafficking, the child trafficking. They love that shit. Of course the Pope's going to come out. He's like, yeah, that's where we get paid, bitches. Are you kidding me? Fucking Vatican. Goddamn garbage. People are like, oh, Brett, you can't say that. Hey, if you're a Reformed Catholic, you understand. If you walked away from that bullshit, that cult per se, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And I'm not going after people who want to go to church. Go to church. Believe in God. Believe in Jesus Christ. Pray. Ask for forgiveness. Have redemption. But when I watch this shit, and again, getting involved, attacking our president, please, Mr. President, please don't interrupt our drug money. Don't interrupt our child trafficking money. That's how we make our money now. That's how the CIA gets the money and gives it to us. My God. Pope Leo says he believes the United States needs to find another way in handling the situation in Venezuela, warning against any military incursion, saying it would be better to pursue dialogue, apply economic pressure. Thank you, Leo. It seems that there's a possibility there might be some activity in operation to invade the Venezuelan territory. Leo spent several years as a missionary and a bishop in Peru. How'd that go? Told reporters on board a papal plane. Who paid for that plane? Returning to Rome from Beirut on Tuesday. I truly believe it's better to look forward to ways of dialogue, maybe the pressure, including economic pressure, but looking forward another way. Even the Pope is saying, look, you're going to interrupt our money. That's what they're saying. They're not doing it because they don't want bloodshed. They're saying, hey, look, this is another way that we get paid, bitches. My God. Go ahead, Marshall.
We got Catholic charities in Venezuela. You can't do that.
Who do you think brought these people up through the Panama Canal, through Mexico? All right. The Catholic Archdiocese.
NGOs. Yep.
NGOs. And then it's not just them. You got the Jewish NGOs operating the same way with many different other groups, bringing these people in tugging on your heartstrings.
Yeah, with
So
the
what?
ads.
You can get
Help
what?
these
So you can
people.
develop some empathy, some toxic empathy.
Yeah, kill yourself.
My God.
I feel
Fuck
so
the Vatican.
sorry.
Fuck the church. I'm done with it. Done with all of it. Because they're the reason why we have parts of all this garbage inside our country. I don't give a shit anymore. I don't have a conscience about this anymore. I don't worry about these people anymore. You know what? I don't care. I'm on my own. I don't need to go to a church, talk to a priest. I'm so done with the Catholic Church and everything about it. The Vatican makes me sick. The fact that they're actually sticking their nose in it. I hope the Vatican collapses and everything about it gets exposed even further. I really do.
Imagine.
I don't care. This guy's from Chicago and he's an American Pope.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, honestly, it's just this fear porn that comes out of here in some way. I mean, what are you addressing? I just wanted to say that they even got the Pope activated. How about that one? They even got the Pope. Trusty term, give the cookie. Hell yeah, Brett. We know. Yep, I know you know.
All these people, Brett, that like the Pope, that are belly aching about. All these people. What was it? Rand Paul. All these people. How do they live? Do they live like you and me?
No.
Probably not.
No.
They're living
They
off.
don't.
They're living life, man. They're living at large, man.
Yeah.
And we're all out here fighting and strapping, and we got somebody knocking us in the head when we walk down the street, and they don't give a shit.
And I got to get advice from the Pope. I got to hear that fucking guy tell me. I got to tell President Trump. And then we got to what? Fuck empathy. There's no empathy in the Bible. Stop having empathy. It doesn't exist. Okay? All it is you invite more danger into your lives. You shouldn't give a shit about anything. When you're at the checkout line and they ask $20 for a donation, you tell the cashier, fuck off.
Shit. Yeah.
Fuck that. I'm tired of this. Don't give money to donations and organizations. Red Cross, all of it. It's all a lie. It's all a giant grift. Do not give money out anywhere. It's all a grift. When you start donating to all these things, they're tugging on your heartstrings. It is such garbage. The fact that the Pope comes out like that, it's embarrassing. Yep, they got to activate that guy. CIA is like, yep, get the Pope ready to talk. Pakistani-born student at University of Delaware. Ooh, went to University of Delaware. What's at the University of Delaware? Arrested for allegedly planning attack on campus. Here we go. A Pakistani. Good thing authorities were able to thwart this plot. Did anybody hear about it? Nope. Undergraduate student at University of Delaware was born in Pakistan, was arrested after allegedly attempting an attack on the campus. His mugshot, drawing of his plot. Look at that. So what has he got? Is that like engineered paper? I forget what that paper is. Is that like Scantron? No, it's not Scantron paper. It's like statistic. Is it statistical paper? I think it could be statistical paper, but he's drawing he reportedly told police his goal was to be a martyr. Lukman Khan was arrested before midnight on November 24th. That's 8 days ago. University confirmed that Khan is an undergraduate student, has been banned from all UD campuses while investigation underway. Toyota Tacoma driven by Khan in park hours. They saw a little white. He was taken into custody. Police searched the Tacoma and found several items inside, including a loaded handgun, extended magazines, body armor, laptop, binoculars. Wow. Legal immigrant from Pakistan. Wanted to be a martyr. The arrest comes shortly after President Trump's crackdown on visas from 19 countries. When they put 19 countries out, but there are really 32 in control. And they're keeping the other, I think it's another 13 or 12 hidden for a reason. And they'll expose that later. All right, Marshall. I mean.
It was graph paper.
Yeah,
I remember that from back in the old days.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is statistic or graph paper?
Who was it? Armstead. Yeah, you reminded us. Graph paper.
Graph paper. I'm like, I know what that paper is.
Brings back the old days.
Is it graph or statistic paper?
It's graph paper. No, that's what it was called. Graph paper.
Oh, okay.
You do like architecture shit on it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like engineering or something like that.
Right.
That's what I was trying to think.
This
I'm like,
guy was a real genius, man.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And he's drawing diagrams on the graph. Yeah, he's got, you know what he's got? You know what he's got on the graph paper? He's drawing hangman. He's got the hangman on there. He's doing this. He's got the hangman. He's like, oh yeah. He's got the hangman. There he goes. It's with the hangman with the little noose and hang. That's where he's going to be hanging from. That's what the guy's got. That's what he's drawing on
He's
there.
playing it with himself every
Yeah.
time he goes to the bathroom because you put another line. Remember the Hangman game?
The Hangman, yeah.
Graham.
It's embarrassing. What's going on? What
This
is going
total
on?
Gen X TV right here.
Let's go back to the Pope. Honestly, the Pope is more funny to make fun of. I mean, honestly, let's
This
act
guy,
like
Chicago Pope. Good
All
lord.
right, let me go through this real quickly.
Obama's Pope.
All right.
He's an Obama Pope, man.
I guess everybody saw this. I didn't see this until I heard this today, but I guess this was yesterday. Holy crap! President Trump calls out Somalians third world garbage who do nothing, bitch. Yeah, I guess he said
Still
this.
good. Still good.
And we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
Taking garbage.
Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that walk. These aren't people that say,
You just can't get enough of this guy.
These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And
Look at ABT.
They got nothing. You know, they came from paradise and they said, this is in paradise. But when they come from hell and they complain.
He's got a point. They come from hell. It's a shithole. All right. And they complain. Okay. I mean, it's true. I mean, it is. I don't see Haitians coming here and complaining that, unless they get sent back to Haiti and they're here illegally. Why do you think the rules for Cubans and Haitians are different? If they can get across and land with their boat, then they're good. At least, but the law has changed now about that. And you have the interdictions all over the place and stuff. You don't even see that anymore. Mario boat lifts. And they're going to change everything with Cuba too. Wait till we find out about Cuba's infiltration. That's going to shut down real quick. All right. I think the Cuban population will be happy about that.
Yeah.
In the United States.
Well,
They support President Trump.
Finally.
Yes.
And I guarantee his cabinet that were sitting at that table when he was saying all that shit.
Marco Rubio.
Yeah. Marco Rubio was probably smiling, laughing.
Did you know Marco Rubio had a good friend? I guess he went to high school with that was a Venezuelan drug dealer, drug runner, big name, big guy that was in the cartel. And he's been really, I was watching something about someone talk about that, and I'm going to look that up and discuss it later. But I guess he remained friends with this guy, and he's in prison. Major breaking: Trump administration canceled the 19 countries. Let's freaking go. This will not be allowed to take the oath of citizenship. He said he knows for ceremonies scheduled as soon as this week, including those who passed their naturalization test, you will not be allowed to take your oath. Wow. You won't be a citizen. Sorry. Can't pass go. Can't collect $200. We're going to put a pause on you. We're going to re-interview you. And I don't care if you got 100%, okay, on your test. All right. If you find out you're a terrorist and you cheated, how about that one? I mean, there's so many other things I was reading about we'll get into, but I got to move on. My throat is killing me. All right, here we go. Joe Rogan got a good one. Listen what he says about this. Take a break from talking. He says his platform raises awareness about Minnesota Democrats rigging the elections by illegals.
Find it.
Yeah, I'll find it.
I'll check on Twitter.
Illegal.
I have to say, I find it very hard to believe.
Me too, but not because I think that what I was getting at is a lot of the reason for wanting an open border is congressional seats. Because one of the things about when you do a census, it doesn't count how many people are citizens, it counts how many people. And so you can get extra congressional seats if you have more illegal immigrants in your city.
Exactly.
And you have much more political power that way.
But why do you get more seats if they can't vote?
It's just how it works. It's just how it's the way our census is set up. So the way a census is set up, it's just counting people. It's not counting people that are legally
Oh,
here.
the census. Okay.
Yes. So the census is how they dictate the amount of congressional seats.
Here's what was going around Twitter.
Okay, Minnesota elections confirms non-citizens can vote with driver's licenses. October 14, 25. This is it. State hearing, Minnesota Director Elections Paul Linnell testified that non-citizens holding driver's licenses under the 2023 Driver's Licenses for All law can register to vote and cast ballots by affirming eligibility, as the ID verifies identity but not citizenship. Secretary of State Steve Simone. That just happened a couple of days ago.
I mean, that's just crazy that you're seeing it. And we're probably going to see, I would say, 2/3 of the state under some fraud investigation. I mean, with the census, I mean, with the the results that are coming out that we're finding out. I mean, it's not just 50% Somalians. It's so many other different groups that are involved over there. But we don't know how bad it is with other groups that are activated in this way, that have driver's license, that are illegal, that should not be voting. And the census doesn't pick it up, like he was saying. That's why they're redistricting the lines. You have to remove this rot in order to do that. And I think that Minnesota has been wholly, it's another example of another state that's been wholly captured like California. And I think unless you arrest the governor, the mayors, city council, many other people that have committed this fraud, waste, abuse, all this other stuff, RICO, under RICO acts, unless you arrest them, nothing will change. Nothing's going to change unless you arrest them. Here's one more. I'll show you this other from Minnesota. Let me be clear: there are no Somali gangs terrorizing people. This is hilarious. This is great.
This is Hennepin County Attorney Mary Moriarty. There are reports that the Trump administration is planning to send ICE agents here to the Twin Cities to target our neighbors of Somali descent. This is part of a recent pattern to single out our Somali community members. This is rooted in the idea that if they spew hatred, it will divide us. But we won't let that happen. There are no roving gangs.
Yo! Oh! Oh! What? Oh!
They're just great people, just friendly people. Again, these people, shoot their mouths off and they realize, oh my God. And it's not just there. The University of Minnesota has reported massive uptick of a lot of different criminal elements that are going through robbing and stealing and injuring people left and right. And you're not hearing about it because they're covering up. Even the actual chief of police of the local township over there that is under the umbrella where the University of Minnesota is come out and said, yes, there's been a lot of crime, a lot of stuff that is happening, and it's being covered up and no one's doing anything about it. But we're doing our best to fix the problem. That's it. Let me show you one more thing.
Well, and what they're doing, Brett, with these cities like this is they're fudging the numbers, the statistics. They're calling it white people that are committing, and all the crimes are committed by these people that are not white people. And then they're fudging the numbers to make it, oh, well, everything's fine. You can just go to the park and everything, and then you get your ass beat or worse.
There was no affordability. Nobody could afford
So this is the affordability that we're going to talk about. Unaffordable truths.
Do you remember when we took over eggs? You did a great job on that, Madam Secretary. Agriculture, Brooke. Eggs were 4 or 5 times higher than they had ever been. They said, don't order eggs for Easter at the White House. And we ended up doing it, and we got the egg prices way down, lower than what they were before. But the word affordability is a con job by the Democrats. They say affordable. I watched the other day where some very low IQ congresswoman talked about affordability. She had no idea. Their prices were much higher. As an example, energy, gasoline, we're now at about $2.50 a gallon. We're going to be, I think, at $2 a gallon. We could even crack that at some point. I'd love to do it. And we could do it more easily if we weren't building up the strategic national reserves, which Biden emptied out before the election so that he could try and get elected, meaning he started it, then he got thrown out of the race. Then she took over and she kept it going, and they emptied out these strategic national reserves, which are really meant for something else. They're not meant to keep people.
Okay, I want to show you that. And here's the last point. I dropped the pills. This came out on the 11th. Let me get out of this. Hold on. I want to show you this. This is about the unaffordable truths. President Trump got derided by being attacked. Who else? Thank you, Darla, for gifting the can. They broke the law to get here, then robbed us for free programs, and we expected the vetting will be on the up and up. Liars, cheats, crooks. Yeah, and don't forget the people like Walz, Governor Walz of Minnesota, who allowed this, and then he's getting kickbacks on. These people don't do anything without making sure that their ass is covered and they're being paid out on the back end. That's how it all works. They're not doing anything knowing they're putting their ass on the line without making sure that someone's stuffing their ass with money simultaneously. That's exactly what they're doing right now. So I got that. So I released the pills. This came out on the 11th, 11/12/2025. So November 12th. If you want to run for office, this comes from the Manhattan Contrarian. Affordability is really taking off. It's the political scam. If you run for office as a Democrat, there's a new catchword that you need to make as your own affordability. As anybody paying attention knows, the cry for affordability was a central theme that carried the Democrats to victory in all big races this year, most notably those of Zohan Mondami for New York, Abigail Spanberger of Virginia, who are raising their taxes, Miki Sherrill, who is now backed on her word. She's going to raise taxes in New Jersey when she said she wasn't. The same thing is also carried the two Democrats to victory in public service commissioners in Georgia. First victories by Democrats statewide. But here's the question. Is the promise of affordability by these politicians something that has any prospect of being delivered through their proposed policies? Think about it. The last 4 years, has it helped? Has it helped at all? Have they done anything to help you in any way? No. Are they proposed policies instead more likely to be useless or even counterproductive, thus making the promise of affordability a scam from the outset? In the campaigns, the theme of affordability got applied across multiple areas of household spending, including such areas as housing, healthcare, and transportation. But one spending category was the biggest focus of campaigns: energy. In a piece on the Vox, November 7th, Uam Irfan exults at the success of the Democrat candidates' appeal to affordability as energy under the headline. So when you see, and there are big names on, I can tell you right now, there are big names on X that got 200, 300, whatever, and they just pop up and they do their little TikTok videos and stuff like that, and they all were talking about affordability. All right, they're all scammers. They're not in on MAGA. They're not in on America. They're all about what? Their agenda. They're fence sitters. They were Democrats before. They would go back for. They're not independents, but they're libertarians like Rand Paul. And all they do is pick and choose and wedge issues and stuff, and they bitch and moan about all these different things. And I can tell you right now, they are there to simply divide you and put this in your head. That's why President Trump put that out, that it was a scam, and all these people got elected, all right, under the promise and guise, all right, that affordability things will change. And in fact, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse for them in those city-state fiefdoms, and they deserve what they get, as far as I'm concerned. That's it for our show. Super D gifted a cookie and another cookie. Thank you so much for helping on the platform. I'm glad I dropped all the pills here. He dropped 3 cookies. Thank you so much over here. Marshall, any thoughts, any conversations as we dip out? It was an intense show.
Look, man, these blue states they live in, they're the ones like California. They're the ones that create the high costs. So
Right.
that's their problem. They're the ones that create it. Look at California.
Mhm.
So that's their deal. You know, don't talk to me. It's another scam with this affordability bullshit. It's a typical little slogan. So,
Yes, I have the Epstein thing. People are
They
like, I
got
need
the
to see the video. All right, digital denizen. New unseen video images from Epstein Island drop from the House Oversight Committee. They're disturbing. People wanted to see it. The massage room has an evil-looking mask mounted on the wall, blah, blah, blah. It's obvious a ton of evidence is out there. Okay. Want to thank Woke Societies. He was rating our channel. Everybody in the chat, you can go back and watch it. You guys were here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for helping the platform. Hope you enjoyed the show. Let me know. Hit the like button. Leave us a comment. Questions, concerns. Always help us out. Thanks, everybody. G. Rustberry, what's up? Long time. Nah, dog, how you been? Good to see you. Yeah, this is the Epstein Island footage that came out. This was Diligent Denzian put this out. So I'm like, all right, instead of covering an article and just going to give you 2 minutes of that. But this is what it is. I wonder if they show the area where supposedly it was underground that was caved in. Are they going to show that? Or that was filled in, so to speak. That's the terminology. I'd love to have a wind-up Brett toy to send to Congress. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder, yeah, what would it say if what would it say? What would that wind-up doll say? You could fuck right off. How about that one?
I
Yeah.
just released the most dangerous discovery that explains everything. The video is in my Bible.
You all can fuck right off and get bent. Yep. Fuck you and die. That's it, Trump won. That's my slogan. Look at this. So why would the Democrats from the Oversight Committee release this in some way? Again, they're throwing this out there. President Trump signed in the Transparency Act, and they're releasing all this stuff out there. No, they don't show underground, just the phone around. Interesting. Okay.
They took out the diving board and they put this in instead of a diving board.
Yeah.
What the hell, man? Strange.
Is that from the hunting parties? Someone bought the island. It's going to be converted. You know, that's going to be a hotel for rich people. It's going to be like a super private hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be more
Yeah.
of the same.
Yep. Stay away. Stay far, far away. Yep. I know this. People.
Discovery that explains everything. The video is in my Bible.
I'm just showing this. This is what I saw. This. There's other footage, but this is what I found.
This is a dentist. No, they're going to have a dental.
Okay.
I mean, I don't see that. Doesn't look. I don't know what. Yeah.
Look at the names on there. What is that? A dentist chair?
Dental chair with the weird faces.
Yeah.
That's the only part that I thought
What is
was.
it?
That's the only part that I thought that. Look at all these faces on the wall, man.
Yeah.
And then why do you have a dental chair there, man?
Look at the
What are you
nose.
doing with your teeth?
Look at the nose. Look at the nose.
Oh yeah, look at that. Nice.
I don't know. Why would you need a dental chair? I don't know.
That's some weird shit.
Chipping teeth on bone? I don't know.
It's a
fucking
torture
disgusting.
chair, if you ask me.
Exactly. Making diamonds? Yeah, freak chair. Creepy as fuck. Yeah. I mean.
No trespassing, right?
I don't know. I mean, I had other stuff. I mean, there was another thing on there, but I think we're over a show. So, I mean, I'm done. But I just wanted to show that, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. It's all weird as fuck. Torture. I mean, from that standpoint, yeah, it's just creepy dentist chair. That's it. I mean, just the island is just calm, but it was sold. It's going to be I don't know if they're obviously going to uproot it and fix it up and make it into a resort for super rich people.
Some orgy war.
Who's going to go there? Who's going to go there? I mean, honestly, is the lore going to bring people there? Like it's going to be super rich people? Honestly, have fun. Have fun. I don't know. All right, that's our show for tonight. We will return on Friday. Thanks, everybody out there. Thank you, Woke Society Scott, for rating the channel and stuff. Have a good evening. Be well. See you on Friday at 7:30. Good night. Ciao, Bella.